Today on DNVR Buffs Live, a shakeup on the offensive line, and also whose stock is up the most. All that and much more. Let's jump right in. Let's go.
Coming to you live from the Toyota Lounge's DNVR Buffs Primetime. Driven by your Front Range Toyota stores. Toyota is the official vehicle of DNVR. The clean sweep is over.
It is what it is. Can't win them all.
We'll get to Evan Haynes. We'll get to the stock up report also. But we start today. Reshuffling on the offensive line?
Maybe. But got to remember, Jake, we just got done talking yesterday about how they're cross-training guys on the offensive line, making sure that they have the best combination of five. I think at some point soon you're going to see them determine and decide on the best group of five.
Yes.
That could have happened already, or this could still be a experiment. You can talk about what we're referencing.
Yeah, so if you saw some of the clips that were put out on the CU Buffs Twitter account today and you saw Darius's video from practice today, you would have noticed, as I'm sure the chat has, that there has been some reshuffling. Tyler Brown at right tackle, Kahlil Benson at right guard, and then Justin Mayers at left guard now is what we're looking at on the offensive line.
Still Hank Zielinskis at center, still Jordan Seaton at left tackle.
Yep.
This is an interesting combination. And again, I don't want to overreact to it because I don't know if that's final. But it's an interesting combination, and it points out a couple things to me. One, there's kind of always been a feeling, you know, from evaluators that Kahlil Benson is best suited at guard.
Yep.
Now, he has the size to play tackle, certainly. But he has the play style of a guard. You know, all that nastiness we talk about, all of that dog we talk about, in my experience in football, almost always comes from a guard. Now, that can come from anywhere.
Yep.
But, like, you know, I just think of, like, Ron Leary, who was a long time for the Cowboys and then for the Broncos. Like, nasty guy, but guard. You know, you can go on down the list of guys who played guard who have that in them, but also just his play style is kind of like a road grader, go out there, knock someone on their ass type of player, is also a guard, a characteristic.
Yeah, so Kahlil played all 12 games last year at right tackle at Indiana, but before that, in 2022, he kind of played all over the offensive line, right guard included. So I do agree, though. It's that's what we've like. The first thing you mentioned when you talk about Kahlil is his nastiness.
Yep.
He wants to bury people. He wants to lay on dudes after he buries them in the dirt, and that's more suited to right guard as well. I agree. And then Justin also gets to move back to his natural position of left guard with this change as well.
Yep. So again, nothing final, and I still think Kahlil can play right tackle because he does have that size. The other side of it is just Tyler Brown's versatility.
Yes.
This is a guy who, you know, was All-American at Jackson State as a guard, comes to Colorado, learns center because he thinks that might be his best path, then goes and locks down the, you know, I shouldn't say locks down, but wins the guard position, at least in the spring portion of the battle, and then shows that he can kick out to right tackle. This is a guy who, you know, wants to play in the NFL, and that will go a very long way when he is being evaluated as an NFL player. The fact that he has Has he played left tackle? Did he ever play left tackle?
I don't know if he's played left tackle, but again,
if he hasn't played, he would have practiced at every single position except left tackle.
Well, and then we saw when we talked about cross training yesterday, I think Tyler Brown was one of the guys taking snaps at left tackle as well.
Yeah.
So he's played all over as well in his career.
When I remember like Dalton Reisner coming out, ends up being a second-round pick of the Broncos. That was a big feather in his cap. It was, hey, this is a guy who's played every position on the offensive line. Mm-hmm. Wherever you need him and wherever you think he fits your system best is where you can play him. Broncos played him at left guard, but a lot of teams had evaluated him as a right tackle.
Yep.
So it just goes a long way for Tyler to display that mobility. But again, we'll see what it ends up in. We actually have a clip, right?
Yeah, so shout out to Uncle Neely who sent us this directly from the meeting room with the offensive linemen. Coach Lodholt basically, explaining what's going on with the offensive line and why all this shuffling is going on right now.
All right, so once again, Coach Farley always talking to us, right? He's speaking facts up there. All right, he talked about change, right? Change is what? Inevitable, right? It's going to happen. There's going to be some change. All right, there's going to be some of y'all today that's going to be playing in new positions, playing next to new people, all right? And how do you adjust? What are you going to do with your opportunity? All right, some of y'all are going to get some opportunities that you have not got since I've been here. I want to know what you're going to do with your opportunity. Everybody understand that? Because obviously, like he said yesterday, we got our ass kicked, right? Right? Okay, so what are we going to do? What are we going to do to fix it? As a coach, what I'm going to do to fix it is change. Just like Coach Frank said. I'm going to change where some people are playing. I'm going to change who people are playing with. Because if we just don't do anything, all right, if we don't change anything, we can't expect nothing to change, right? All right, so we're going to change it today. We're going to see who wants their opportunity, who don't. And, the cream will rise to the top. Because how many starters do we have in this room right now? Zero, right? You're going to earn everything you get in this room. So for those of you who may think that you are a starter or whatever you may think, all right, forget about it. When you think you're second team or you think you're third team, forget about that too. All of it don't matter. Everybody understand me? All right, we're going to see who really wants it today and from here on out in camp, as we already have been doing.
So straight from Coach Lodholt, it's about opportunities, seeing who's going to take advantage of this opportunity and compete, but also there's 0 starters right now.
Yeah. Do you believe him?
No. No, I don't.
I mean, it's classic coach stuff.
Yeah.
Just today, the Broncos released their, first depth chart. They've got Bo Nix third on the depth chart. It's like classic football guy stuff, right? You're a rookie. You got to earn your spot. But at the same time, I think it's important, especially in a situation like right now. It is clear that they don't have a starting 5 that they are 100% set on.
Right.
And so in that situation, I think it's good and important to keep every player feeling like they still have a chance, because you never know when a guy's going to click.
Yes.
And when it's going to unlock for him. And so, there's a lot of times when a player almost takes a mental redshirt year. Mm-hmm. They're just like, hey, look, it's not my year. I'll just sit back, and next year, once so and so graduates, that's when I'm going to step up and take my spot.
Yep.
But by doing that, you actually rob yourself of the opportunity for that click to happen. Mm-hmm. And you never, as a player, even know when it might just all of a sudden the game slows down for you. Your technique comes more naturally to you. It doesn't feel like you're thinking before you do anything. So I think it's a good coaching technique from Coach Lodholt to just say, no starters. Everyone should be fighting for the job like they're trying to get the starting position.
Yep. I love it though, man. I love the idea of cross-training them. I love the idea of adding more competition to trying to build this offensive line, because I do think you could have just ran out there with what we saw in the spring game and things could have been fine. But now that you're going down this road and that you're, seeing who works best where, maybe you find that Tyler Brown is just a stud at right tackle. And that wouldn't surprise me either, because Tyler Brown, as you mentioned, All-American, SWAC first team, FCS All-American?
FCS All-American, yeah.
And he was part of an offensive line when he was at Louisiana, that was up for the Joe Moore Award for one of the best offensive lines in the country. So Tyler Brown's got, versatility in his bag, and now he's been displaying it, but now he gets to display it further. And this could be massive for his draft stock too, by the way.
Absolutely. And Unk is in the chat right now saying the starting group is not known. We know who can play, but not who plays best together. And I think that's another great point, which is like, you just don't know until you try it. Mm-hmm. Do Kahlil Benson and Tyler Brown communicate better on the right side than Tyler Brown and Jordan Seaton? Right. Do Justin Mayers and Jordan Seaton communicate better? Like all that stuff is worth trying out. And I think it's a really interesting challenge for the coaches to figure out what the best is. But also, this is the kind of stuff I love about football and I love about just, the prospect of coaching. You also have to ask yourself, like, how much time do I need to give this to see if it really works? Right. There's just so many little like chess pieces that you can play and moves that you can do that it just it fires me up.
Yeah. You mentioned Jordan. I think there's an aspect of this too that I think it could be a good sign, because I can't remember if it was Unk that said it or it was Coach that said it. But the idea was to get Tyler next to Jordan Seaton to help kind of accelerate Jordan's development, or at least give him someone that he can count on if he needs some help in the huddle, on the line or whatever, just like pointing out calls. But now you add Justin, who's another vet at that position next to him. But I think that's encouraging for Jordan that he's starting to really get it and just pick up on the game and be faster processing mentally.
Absolutely. And he looked good in that clip.
He did. Offensive line as a whole looks good.
Yeah.
Did you see the clip from Shedeur today? He stepped up in the pocket, found his backside read.
That's what I'm talking
Holy
about.
cow.
Yeah. I hated the way that video was edited, but otherwise, I loved it. It almost looked like one of those like trick shot videos that are like fake because it cuts to a different camera right at the last second before the ball goes in the hoop. But obviously they have no reason to do that.
Right.
But great job. Kahlil Benson was kind of like bullying whoever was in front of him.
Yeah.
Tyler Brown had it locked down on the right side. Jordan held it down long enough on the left. It was just that was exciting to see. And if Shedeur adds that to his game, because obviously Tom Brady is his kind of hero or whatever you want to say,
sure,
the person he models his game after or wants to. That's the best thing that Tom Brady did.
Yeah, his pocket movement
was just making a 2-foot adjustment just to dodge that guy, buy yourself a little more time, deliver a strike. If Shedeur adds that more, because he obviously has it, but if he starts doing that on a consistent basis, I don't think you'll be able to stop this offense. People
have mentioned this in the chat. I don't know what this means for Tyler Johnson.
I think you and I were as excited about Tyler Johnson as anyone when he committed. Obviously he has put on some really good tape at Houston. He was highly graded. All I can say is from where we're sitting, he hasn't really factored in, and I don't know why.
Yep.
And like I said, I don't know how Tyler Johnson's doing. I haven't seen much of it, but for whatever reason, he hasn't really factored into the mix, even going back to the spring.
But I think still, like, you have a clear top 5, obviously.
Yes.
If you have a clear top 5, you have a clear top 5.
Yep.
Like, that's great.
But also, Tyler Johnson being your 6th is a good thing.
Of course.
If he's your 6th.
I mean, Kareem Harden's been moved around a lot as well. You've got Yakiri Walker still in the conversation as well, too. So, and then not to mention the young guys, Peyton Kirkland, Zach Owens. Like, there's real pieces on this offensive line. The depth is there this year.
Absolutely.
All right, let's take a quick break. And shout out to our friends over at UC Health. They're starting a new movement here with Coach Prime basically being the tip of the spear on this one. It's called Ready, Set, Co., and they're challenging Coloradans to live healthier and put Colorado back in its rightful spot as one of the healthiest, or the healthiest state in the country. There's a lot of things going on right now. We're about to head into football season, so make sure you're taking care of your mental and physical health. And UC Health has a bunch of stories for you to take a look at. If you want to check them out in the show notes, or just go to www.uchealth.org/ReadySetCO if you want to join UC Health's Ready Set CO Challenge.
Also,
we got a Coach Prime banner. How about that?
Ooh, fancy. Also, shout out to Toyota. You guys know how much I love my Toyota. I've said it a million times, but I can say it more. I can say that I love my Toyota. I love all the features. I love the safety that I feel in my Toyota. I love the handling of my Toyota. I love the customer service from Front Range Toyota stores. I love it all. And I cannot recommend getting a Toyota more if you've never driven a Toyota. It feels like you can drive those things for a lifetime.
You pretty much can.
It feels like almost a life hack because I never have to take my Toyota into the shop. Mm-hmm. And I'm really bad at taking my car into the shop. So it's a huge dub for me that I don't have to do it with my Toyota.
You need Toyota.
I need my Toyota. So shout out to them. If you're interested in getting a Toyota and upping your car game, visit a Front Range Toyota store at a location near you, including AutoNation Toyota, Arapahoe and Centennial, Corin Toyota and Boulder, Groove Toyota and Littleton, Mountain States Toyota in Denver, Stevenson Toyota East in Aurora, and Stevenson Toyota West in Lakewood. Toyota is a proud partner of CU Athletics and the official vehicle of DNVR.
All right.
I don't know why I was thinking about this the other day, but it came up this weekend. My previous car, I don't think I need to throw that company under the bus, but my previous car, at the end of its life, could only start if it was already moving. So I would literally have to back into every spot and then put the car to neutral, get it rolling a little bit, and then start it as it rolls.
Unbelievable. You've came a long way, man.
Yep. That's terrible. Also, then I took it in to get it fixed, and they were like, it's going to cost more than the value of the car to fix this. So I'm like, I'm just going to keep doing this until this stops working. Then I, sold it to one of those junker places for like $300.
You know what? That's incredible problem solving, though, and just resilience.
Yeah, I don't know how I figured that out. It is what it is.
All right, let's talk about recruiting. Evan Haynes committed to North Carolina today. He was deciding between Colorado, Georgia Tech, and UNC.
King Mar said Flintstone car.
He was on that visit, the June 21st visit weekend with Julian Lewis. He is from Georgia as well. We already spoke about the connections about Michael Haynes and Coach Prime also. But we didn't get the buff signal this morning. And I think Steve Wiltfong and a few other, recruiting people put in predictions for him to go to North Carolina over the last few days. So not the biggest surprise, but the clean sweep is dead.
Yeah, I mean, what did they have right now? 7 out of 8?
6 or well, Evan would have made it 6 out of 7. It's 5 out of 7. So.
Okay, so 5 out of 6 of those who have committed so far, with a chance to make it 6 out of 7 if Julian Lewis flips. That is as good as you can ask for from a recruiting weekend. I don't know if I've ever even seen the clean sweep for 7 players.
Yep.
So, by the way, it's been a while since I said this, but my philosophy. It's not goodbye. It's see you later.
That's true. That is also true.
So there's still a chance for the sweep, but as of now, it's going to North Carolina. Wish him the best.
Chris in the chat throwing out UNC lacrosse, and I think that everyone mentioned that when we talked about him a few weeks ago as well, that he's a big lacrosse player, UNC, one of the best in the country at that, and seems like he's going to try and pursue both football and lacrosse, assuming with this commitment. So
that's crazy.
Yeah.
Good for him, man.
For sure.
I guess my idea of having him play football for CU and lacrosse for DU didn't pan out.
I know. So yeah, he was a 3-star prospect. If they get Julian Lewis, I'm sure they're going to be able to recruit more high-profile and heavily touted wide receivers in the near future. So, it is what it is. You still got Quinnell as well. He's a 4-star.
Yep.
And, of course, Cam, Draylon, they're going to work the portal again. They're probably going to get a wide receiver after the season from the recruiting class, too.
Yep. Well, and if you get Juju, there's going to be guys out there who come around for him.
Does this mean anything when it comes to Julian, though?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I don't think so whatsoever, to be honest. Do you?
I don't think so, no. I think, I mean, and look, I'm not trying to diminish Evan Haynes here, but he was kind of like he was the one that wasn't reported on as much when the visits, when they were being announced, you know, over that weekend. Like, that was a late one that we found out he was there. We already talked about the lacrosse thing, but out of all of the guys who came on that June 21st visit, he did seem like probably the longest shot, just in terms of, you know, CU buzz and all that stuff. So
I'm chiming in saying Coach Sapp and D-Lou were watching the show over his shoulder. So shout out to those guys.
What's up, Coach? Both coaches.
Jake still has a gift for Coach Sapp.
Oh, man, that's going to be great. I still have it on my table, too, Coach, whenever you're ready.
We should, Friday.
Yes.
Friday, we'll bring Coach Sapp his gift.
All right. Next thing. We've talked a lot about rule changes in college football this offseason. This isn't directly related to the Big 12 yet, but it certainly could be coming. The SEC is reportedly moving towards adding mandatory injury reports before games this season. A decision is likely to come down as early as next week, according to CBS Sports. That's when the league's athletic directors will all get together and meet. But the Big Ten already started doing something like this last year. And some SEC schools opted themselves, LSU and Florida, to release weekly injury reports. The other schools in the conference decided not to. But this could be something that's official as soon as next week. And I'd assume if this becomes official for the SEC, it's only a matter of time before it's in our lives as well.
Look, I totally understand why a coach would never want to release an injury report if they don't have to.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of an advantage right now for, I guess it works both ways. But as a coach, I totally understand why you would never want to. From our perspective as show hosts, and from our perspective as gamblers,
Yes,
it would be huge for us.
of course.
There's nothing worse than you're like on the couch Saturday morning. You're like, oh, I'm going to just like throw $25 on like Ohio State against whoever, Rutgers.
Yeah.
Let me take Rutgers to cover the 28.5. And then like they come out and they're like, turns out Rutgers starting quarterback didn't make the trip.
Yes.
It's like, what the fuck?
Yeah. Well, remember last year, the whole Cam Rising thing.
Yeah.
Every week, every single week, it was, is this it? Is this time? And then they'd go to the shot of Cam Rising in a hoodie on the sidelines with a headset on. So this is something that, yes, it could make our lives easier in that regard. But in terms of what we do, our job, like, it'd be great information for both sides, for CU and for whoever they're playing.
Right. And again, it kind of, I guess the advantage goes to the healthier team, which is kind of just the way football works in the first place. But if I was a coach, I think I would be advocating for this, not against it. Just because all of that time wasted preparing for a player who's not going to play would just suck.
Yep.
Now, of course, you can do the questionable thing if it's just like the NFL. But the NFL does make you choose by Friday. So maybe in college football, you'd have to choose by Thursday. Is this guy in or out?
Right.
It would be really nice. It would be so nice if we could go, on the DNVR pregame show and say, okay, like so-and-so has been ruled out this week. Who's stepping up for him?
Yep.
It makes us more informed. It makes the fans more informed. It makes each team's coaching staff more informed on how to prepare for the game. I think it's for the best. And the truth is, it can't be avoided. The only reason why this is even being discussed is because of the gambling aspect of it.
Absolutely. So this is an excerpt from the article from Alex Scarborough and John Talty from CBS Sports. It says the Big Ten became the first P5 conference to institute a game day availability during the 2023 season, a move designed to protect the integrity of the game with respect to gambling. The league's weekly report had two categories for injured players. It was either questionable or out. So we could see, it wouldn't surprise me if a team does the Bill Belichick Patriots thing and just lists everyone as questionable, or most of anyone who's on the bubble is questionable, and not really sharing information, I guess, in that regard.
Yep. There was a legendary moment. Gosh, I wish I could remember the full story here, but the Buffs are playing a team that like refused to release an official roster because they didn't have to.
Mm-hmm.
So then that week, Dave Platty, the longtime sports information director at CU, redid the entire Buffs roster and just made them South Park characters and just like other notable figures.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it was great. But it was a great troll job. But anyways, I'm pro injury reports.
Yes, me too. Yeah, just be helpful to have that info, honestly, and not have to, because the way I do it now is I go down to the tunnel, especially when it's at games at Folsom. I go down the tunnel as the team's walking out, and I just see who's not wearing pads, basically.
Yeah.
That's the only way we can get that type of information, at least like directly ahead of a game.
But one time Travis wasn't wearing pads at the Utah game. Travis wasn't suited up until, I don't know, 10 minutes before kickoff.
But I did catch him running out of the tunnel in full pads, too.
Okay, all right, fair. I mean, was he even out there for warm-ups?
I don't think so. Remember, he was sick. So it was, I mean, Neely was even telling us he didn't know if Travis was going to play or not. Because I don't think he practiced that week.
I remember.
All right. Let's just hit this break then. And shout out our friends over at Lucy Nicotine. Certain nicotine pouches are hard to find. Lucy Nicotine is not hard to find. And you can level up your routine with Lucy if you go to lucy.co/buffs, BUFFS, and use that promo code BUFFS to get 20% off your first order. They also offer free shipping and have a 30-day refund policy. I actually really like the flavors from Lucy. I like how...
Better than any other one.
Yeah, they taste awesome. It's not like overly sweet or salty like some other nicotine pouches.
Yep.
I'm a big fan of the mango, the apple ice. You're on Team Mint, right?
Yep.
But they have... go ahead.
When I was out of town this weekend, I obviously didn't have access to Lucy's.
Yes.
So I had to get a competitor's cinnamon flavor.
Ooh, rough.
So trash.
Yeah.
Lucy's cinnamon flavor is actually good.
It is, yes. They've got a variety pack, too, so if you want to try all the flavors that they offer, it's up on the site. It's lucy.co. Again, use the code BUFFS, BUFFS, for 20% off and always free shipping. Lucy products are only for adults of legal age, and every order is age-verified. Warning, this product contains nicotine. Nicotine is an addictive chemical, and orders are age-verified.
Also, shout out to Bet365. If you want to use injury reports to your advantage as a bettor,
well done.
You could do it over at Bet365. Regardless of if you have injury reports or not, to me, it's just so much more fun to watch sports, especially football, when you have a little skin in the game. Random Friday night college football game, you're just at the bar with your buddies, you look up and you're like, oh man,
cannot wait.
Utah and Washington State are about to kick off. I guess it's not happening anymore, but
right.
It's just like, oh, I got to get some action on this. You're not even fully watching the game, but you're just like hanging out with your buddies. You all have a little action on it. That is, it's prime living. So get over to Bet365. Use the code DNVR365 to sign up and activate the bet and get offer. Place a bet of $5 or more and get $150 in bonus bets. Great way to start off your account. Of course, you must be 21 and older and physically located in Colorado. Please gamble responsibly. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem, wants help, call or text 1-800-GAMBLER.
Just seeing this on my timeline from Go Buffs. Jordan Seaton has his best day of camp so far, he says.
According to who?
Jordan himself.
Oh, nice. Hell yeah.
It's just posted by one of the CU accounts.
Awesome.
With that.
And that comes off the heels of Coach Lodeholt saying yesterday was their best day.
Yep. Iron sharpening iron. With that, let's get to stock up for fall camp, man. There's a lot of players that I can think of right now who have really elevated themselves over the first week or so of fall camp. I'm sure you have some also. Where do we start, I guess? Do we just throw out some candidates?
Yeah, I mean, to me, there's two
Okay.
that jump out above any others.
Okay.
Just based off of essentially what Unk has told us from practice every day. And the two same names keep popping up. It's Charlie Offerdahl and it's Trevor Woods.
All right. I love it. I'd throw Savion Riley in the conversation too.
He has also popped up a few times.
And then I'd throw Terrell Timmons in the conversation also.
Yeah, Terrell Timmons. I don't know if we've specifically heard from Unk on him, but he keeps popping up on well-offs, just making plays.
Yep. Running nice routes, going up attacking the football. I think he was working with the first team today that I saw in Darius's video. Shedeur was throwing him a pass in like a team period. So,
yep.
But again, we kind of talked about him yesterday. A guy who didn't make too much noise during the spring, but it seems like he's really starting to come along after working with Shedeur over the offseason. Maybe Dallin Hayden or Isaiah Augustave make the list.
Isaiah Augustave has been making a lot of plays.
Yeah.
Will Shepard.
Shoot, I'd throw Jimmy Horn in too.
Yep.
He's been balling during camp.
Yeah, and then I think Tyler Brown has to be in that mix too.
Sure. Of course.
Are we doing a full like top 5? Are we going to narrow this down, or are we just
No.
going through it?
No, we're doing a top 5.
Okay.
Starting from 5 or 1.
Let's go 1 first.
All right. Is it T. Woods?
I think so.
I think it is too. I mean, he had easily the most notable and best first week from what it sounded like, and we saw it too on well-off. Just interceptions. Yep. We've heard Coach Prime talk him up before fall camp as well, and it seems like Trevor's just really settled in his new position.
Yeah, and I think one of the reasons why his stock has to be up so much is because of where his stock started.
Yeah.
I don't think going into fall camp anyone was like putting him down as a starter.
Mm-hmm.
It was kind of like he was going to be a gadget role player for the defense.
Yeah.
And again, same way we said about Charlie yesterday, nothing is locked in stone right now. There's still, probably 20-ish practices left. I guess it would be 16 now. But
yep.
He went from fringe contributor to now it feels like is going to be a starter at linebacker. That's got to be number 1 for me.
And you got to mention the change that he's made in his body as well. Probably from what we've heard, one of the biggest changes for a player in terms of what they've done in the weight room over the offseason. So all that factored in, he's got to be the biggest winner or the biggest stock up of camp so far. Number 2, Chat also throws out Preston Hodge. I agree. He has been balling out as well. Who do we go number 2, though?
I'll let you nominate number 2 since I nominated 1.
I think just going off today, we got to mention Tyler Brown.
Okay. I'm in on that. Unk, if you're listening, feel free to throw some names in as well.
Playing tackle is one of the hardest positions on the field to play. And this guy is coming off not having played last year. So his ability it's been stock up for him basically since last season ended, I feel like. They go out there, they go get more tackles, they go get more guards, and Tyler just puts his head down, gets to work in the weight room, gets to work on the field, and is just asserting himself as a piece that can't be left out on this offensive line right now.
Absolutely.
Tyler Brown. Number 3.
I think here you have to go Charlie Offerdahl.
Okay.
Again, another guy who you got to consider where his stock was coming in. Now, he was named as RB2 at the end of spring by Coach Prime. I think it was actually the same day that Dylan transferred.
I think so.
And that day in practice, Coach Prime said, Charlie is running back 2 until I say otherwise.
Yep.
So he was building. But even then, I think there was this idea that it's kind of all part of an act.
Right.
And there's people that commented on our video yesterday with Punk saying the same thing. Oh, you always have to play the Charlie narrative. I think we are so far past that.
Yes, dude.
We are so far past this Charlie Offerdahl feel-good story thing. And the other thing that was said on that video, which was crazy to me, is of course the old school Buffs fans are pulling for Charlie Offerdahl. It's We didn't say it.
Right. Coach Prime said it.
Well, no, Unk said it to us
Right.
that he would be RB1 if there was a game on Thursday. It's like, we're just like, wow, that's awesome.
Yeah.
So this is not the Charlie Offerdahl feel-good story anymore. This is the Charlie Offerdahl is absolutely balling, and you can't keep him off the field story now.
Yep.
So to me, that's a big winner.
Warren says LeJohntay should be on the list. I get where you're coming from, but I think he was like one of the biggest winners of spring football, and he's just kind of keeping that.
Yeah, his stock is neutral in the best way.
Yeah. Like there's not much that LeJohntay can do to up his stock until there's like a game. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Number 4, honestly, I'd probably say Terrell Timmons.
Would you put? So you say Terrell Timmons' stock is up the most of any wide receiver? Because I think I would make the argument that Will Shepard's is up higher.
No, I'd push back on that because I think that since Will committed, we penciled him in as a starter.
That's fair. But I guess he came in with, he didn't have previous tape that existed of him with Shedeur.
Yes, but I mean, we talked about it all offseason. This is the Zay Weaver replacement, and he comes in and shows immediate chemistry like Zay did last year. So to me, it's not really a surprise to see Will kind of balling out and doing his thing. It's more, this is what we expected out of him type of thing.
Okay. I'm going to give it to you.
I mean, I just think that what Terrell has done after not really doing anything in spring football, and now all of a sudden he's rotating in with the ones, is more indicative of stock up than what Will has done, who has kind of, like we said with LeJohntay, he's kind of, even though he wasn't at spring football, he's kind of just remained where he is, where we thought he would be.
All right. We didn't mention Colton Hood earlier.
We did not mention Colton Hood.
That's another one that I feel like his stock is up.
Herman Smith had another interception today. He's been just making plays all camp as well. Caleb, I think, was also rotating in with the ones today. I mean, I wouldn't get upset with the Draylon choice at this point either.
Dre has been very impressive. Ooh. Trying to just make sure that we don't Tajay McCoy. It's so easy to talk about receivers, especially at this part of camp. Like they're almost the easiest. It's always a receiver at Broncos camp who's a standout of the camp. Like trying to make sure that we're not forgetting someone at another position, because I think you could go Draylon or Will Shepard.
Yeah, I'm trying to look through here. I mean,
Jalen Wester,
Tristan Maroy. He keeps getting, I think Sapp shouted him out yesterday. Like, this is what Tristan does. Like, he works, blah, blah, blah. Like,
yeah.
So I think that's just a player in general that's not being talked about who's probably going to get good playing time this year.
Savion Riley is a good one.
Mm-hmm.
I think Unk gave him defensive player of the day from day 6, and then said on day 7 he had another interception. Or maybe even 2 interceptions.
Yep. Sam Hart maybe, but I kind of put him in the Will Shepard category where it's like, since he committed, it was like, this is tight end 1, most likely. And he's just been tight end 1.
Yeah. Yeah.
Going through the rest of the roster here.
BJ Green, another kind of high expectations.
Right. I saw someone in the chat throw out Taufik. He's been, I think, with the 2s. He's going to play.
I think I'm going to go Savion Riley here.
Okay.
I mean, there's so many places we could have gone.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that's a very good list.
And these are all names that, maybe aside from Tyler, I don't think we had them close to our starting lineup. We didn't talk about them when we did projected starters.
Well, and I think that's a part of this, and it is always kind of like, if this goes out on Twitter, there's going to be a million people who say like Shedeur Sanders or whatever.
Right.
It's like
right.
It's like you have to imagine where the stock was for it to be up.
Yep. Just doing one pass through.
Apple can't triple their stock.
Right. one more pass through the roster. Like JB, like is another player that we've heard a lot about since going back to spring. Since going back to last year, and I think he's a factor in for a starting role, but I don't really think it's stock up for him per se. Yeah, that's about it. I've seen people throw out Micah too. I don't think that counts.
Also, did you see the comment on the Charlie Offerdahl video where the person said, "This is just like last year when you guys said Ryan Staub should start over Shedeur." It's like, no one has ever said that.
Whoa.
That sentence has never come out of anyone's mouth.
Yes, that's insane. But yeah, shout out Draylon. I think he just missed the cut on that list.
Yeah, no, I mean, there's a lot of guys that we could have fit in there.
Mm-hmm.
But I do think we talked a lot about one of Draylon and Cam
Yes.
are going to have a breakout camp. That's not to say Cam can't still come on really strong and he has made plays already.
Yes, he has.
But it feels like Draylon is kind of ascending at the pace that we thought one of them may.
Right. Where is O Miller? O was at practice. I did see him without shoulder pads, but with a practice jersey on. So I have no idea from that point.
Okay. By the way, I'm in year 3 of my CFB Buffs team.
Yeah.
My receivers are now Cam, Draylon, Omarion. Caleb Mathis has become an absolute dog. And I'm probably forgetting someone. But then I converted C5 to tight end.
Someone else I saw said that.
Yeah. It's like an 84 overall tight end with 91 speed.
That's awesome.
Yeah. It's.
I mean, you're playing
very
out a
fun.
shotgun the whole time anyway, right?
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
I had a heartbreaker in my dynasty yesterday. The Blazers made it to the CFP national title game, and we lost by 2 points. We gave
To
it
who?
to Florida State.
Oh,
We gave up a safety. We missed a 2-point conversion as time expired. Just a heartbreaking loss for the boys, but the squad is different, man. I tell you what.
congrats, dude. You've done a great job with the rebuild.
Thanks, man. Got my second 5-star ever defensive
Nice.
tackle.
I've still never gotten a 5-star with the Buffs in 2 national championships.
We need to work on your recruiting game, man.
We do.
That's crazy.
We do desperately.
All right. Do you have anything else before we get to questions today? No?
Nope.
Other practice takeaways, I guess. I saw Micah had a big run. Shedeur hit another turkey hole shot to LeJonte today.
By the way, I never said that what you were saying was wrong.
Hey, I didn't say it was either.
I know. I was just. I don't understand why I got
You got attacked.
a stone thrown at me over that. I was just like, I never heard it called the turkey hole. That's all I said. You're like, that's what John Gruden called it. I'm like, oh yeah. I always just heard it called the hole shot.
Yeah. All right, get your questions in. We've got a lot of time today, so now's your shot. And also hit that thumbs up button, subscribe to the podcast, and subscribe to the YouTube channel. We would greatly appreciate that. Who's first?
Kind of like just having the reputation that like I'm a bad recruiter, but I'm so good at X's and O's, it just doesn't matter.
Charlie Mo says, why isn't Yakiri Walker or Tyler Johnson being mentioned in the O-line shuffle? They are, first off, they are kind of cross-training or whatever you want to call it. Like, this is happening for the whole position group, but they just haven't broken the top 5.
Well, yeah, and I would just say from our perspective, it's like we can only talk about what we're hearing and what we're seeing.
Yeah. Yeah.
We're unfortunately not there every day at practice, or else we'd be able to.
Right.
We honestly, if we were there every day at practice, we would be able to give you a breakdown of every single player on the roster and how they're looking.
Yes.
We'd have dozens of pages of notes and all that stuff. Unfortunately, we're not there, so we can only go off of, again, what we're hearing from people who are there and what we see, which is very limited and well-off videos.
Yep. And we didn't even get to see well-off today. It dropped during our show.
Yep.
So we're going to have to go back and watch like a lot of you all.
People said we should just do a lot, like when it drops while we're live, just watch it live. But I feel like that's like view sniping.
Yes, especially right after it drops.
That's what I mean. Yeah. So then like, whoever was watching our live then wouldn't go watch his later.
Right. No, I've done a little bit of that on my Twitch, though, and we'll do some more of it. Maybe we do it tonight.
Also, with all due respect to your Twitch,
What?
just, a couple dozen people watching, which is different than
Yes, exactly.
us putting it out
Exactly.
to,
Hundreds of, however
at
many
least
we have.
10,000 people.
Yes. James asked, does Jake think he could run past Coach Sapp? Absolutely not. I don't even think I could get Coach Sapp to make a false step, honestly.
So wait, this is like he's playing offensive line or something?
Oh, yeah, true. Yeah, why would I be getting by
Or
Coach
does it
Sapp?
mean like in a race?
I cannot beat him in the race. Probably not either.
I don't know. I once raced Adam Munster Tiger on that field.
Yeah?
Yep, I won.
Nice. Would you win now? Adam's a little banged up.
Yeah, he's had a couple Achilles surgeries.
Yep.
I think I could do it again, but I never would do it again because warning to anyone out there, if you haven't run at a full sprint for a long time and then you just try to do it randomly,
Oh, yeah.
it does not good for your body.
Yeah, your hamstring detaches from your bones.
Both of my hammies were out for like 10 days.
Yeah. I mean, dude, when I'm on the treadmill, I crank the incline up to 10 and put it on 3 speed. That's
Yeah.
what we're working at right now.
Yeah. Hey, at least you're getting on the treadmill.
We're trying.
I prefer the stairs, the stair stepper.
I mean, 10 incline on the treadmill it's pretty
Essentially,
close.
yeah.
Yeah, we're climbing flights. JJ says, should CU's legal department sue Athlon Sports for libel? Coach Prime says there should be some consequences. There should be some consequences, but we kind of talked about this yesterday.
Yeah, also, I'm not a lawyer.
Right.
Not qualified to answer that question.
Yeah, fair. Elizabeth says, warm greetings from us Buff fans in Fiji. Shout out
Wow.
Fiji in the chat.
Hell yeah.
That's awesome.
I want to go to Fiji.
I heard they have great water there.
They actually do have unbelievably beautiful waters there.
Well, I heard it tastes good, too. Jay says, RK, I think you were away at a meeting, but have you seen the practice fights? There were not just 2 fights at the same time, but 2 piles of fights at the same time. This is not last year's team.
Yeah, I mean, these guys are just ready to go.
Yeah.
And I think there's a point where you want to rein it in a little bit.
Yes.
But I'd rather have to rein it in than crank it up.
Absolutely. But not going to lie, when I see some of the fights now, I'm like, all right, we can pull back a little bit.
Bro,
We don't need to get into unnecessary roughness penalty territory.
Yeah. Obviously, it's different, but I'm watching. Did you see the clips from Giants Lions joint practices
The
today?
Malik Neighbors thing?
Yeah, I'm like, bro, Malik Neighbors was my first round pick in my dynasty league.
Yeah.
Like, stop punching him.
Yes. Well, he's the one who just did the
he
drive-by.
But it was he like just did like a drive-by smack on the
Yeah.
helmet. But he was like, he got clocked. Like,
He
I
did.
assume that his neck is going to be sore.
Probably, man.
But yeah, I mean, again, I always say that you have to be a little bit crazy to be good at football.
Of course.
You also have to be a little bit crazy to fight people. You also have to be a little bit crazy to fight people when they're wearing a helmet.
Yeah, that's different.
But I'm just saying, I like having that.
I mean,
Every time you do it, there's a risk of something bad happening.
it's one of those things that it's just good to know that you have in the bag
Yes.
type of thing.
Yes. But you don't want to make a habit of it.
Exactly. Yeah. Next question. Baron asks, think Dylan starts for K-State? Honestly, I do not think so.
I think they have a senior running back.
DJ Giddens, yes.
Yeah.
He's a junior, but he was a monster last year for them. On 223 attempts, he ran for 1,226 yards and 10 touchdowns. So, and this guy is listed at 6'1", 200. So I do think it's doubtful. Doyle asks, how many turkey hole throws do we see this season?
Well, cover 2 is his high school defense.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
I mean, if it's there, he'll find it.
Yes. I think we'll see very many. Not like an outrageous number, but there will be enough to put like a highlight reel of Shedeur turkey hole shots versus cover 2 this season, I think.
Yep.
Daryl says, have any of your D-line starters changed since your prediction? It's a good question.
I don't even remember what our predictions were.
Let me try and look it up. I think it was BJ and Dayon at edge, and then Chidoze and
I feel like I
Torian.
would have had Sammy Sachs on there.
You probably did. I don't know. Tajay's been working with the ones a lot.
That would be a crazy development. But I think Dayon Hayes is a lock to start.
All right, I'm trying to find this. I can't find it.
Have either of you watched the first episode of Shedeur's Two Legendary podcast?
Yes.
Yes, and Jake got a mention in it.
That was lit. That was lit.
So what's my guy from DNVR?
Yeah.
Jake? That was great.
Great show, though, honestly. It was really cool, I think, for him to have Kylan and Cam Ward there, too.
Yep. Maybe one day we'll make an appearance on that show.
Would love that. But yeah, super good pod. Shedeur did a great job, too, kind of hosting that thing also.
Yeah. Man of many talents.
He
All the
is.
Sanders kids are.
Yep. JJ Crane asks, are y'all going to be CU baseball fans if RG makes it happen? And when do you think it will happen, if so?
Of course.
Yes.
When do I think it'll happen? Unfortunately, not for a long, long time.
So it just came up on my YouTube yesterday, but I watched Adam Munster Tigers talk with Rick George before camp started, and he kind of asked RG about that, and he said that, well, we want to work on the event center, and everyone keeps asking about the west side, so it's like we only have so much time between when there's not enough stuff going on camp where we can make these changes.
And money.
Yes. And he mentioned that too, because now you're going to have to share 22% of your revenue with the players.
Yeah. It's going to take many years, just being honest here. It's going to take many years of Coach Prime being here and sustained success for the football program before any of these dreams come true.
But Coach Prime did also say that's his dream before he leaves CU is to bring baseball back.
Yep. If we get baseball back, we may just have to carve Coach Prime's face into one of the flat irons. I have a feeling CU baseball would be nasty. There's always good recruits coming from the state of Colorado. Mm-hmm. There's also interesting history. I feel like there would be a big time coach who would want to come here and be the coach.
Especially if Coach Prime's here too. I think who was the guy? I can't remember which recruit it was, but it was baseball was a big factor for them, and they ended up going to Tennessee because of it. I don't think it was Boo Carter, but there was someone we talked about where, I mean, if you have that pull with Coach Prime and then you add in the baseball factor with it, yeah.
Don't bring up Boo Carter without
I'm
warning
sorry,
me.
bro. I'm sorry. Warren asks, which cornerback do you think can shine outside of Travis, and how would you describe the block bully impact this year? Any cornerback, I'm taking Preston Hodge, man. And we didn't skip super chats. We'll get to your super chat.
Yep. How would you describe the block bully impact this year? Hulk-like.
He's going to be a monster, man. Just having potentially multiple players that other teams are going to feel all right, we have to double team this guy. Game changer. Andre asks, are there any carpool efforts to Lincoln that you guys know of? I do not.
But make sure you have four-wheel drive, because I don't think they have paved roads in Nebraska.
They do not. They just got escalators a few months ago.
Wow. Congrats to them.
Heard air
They're
conditioning's
still
coming
sweating
soon
on them, too.
Rantalytics with the super chat. Where are we projecting O'Miller in the lineup? I'd still say he's easily top 6-ish.
Yeah. And top 6, in this world is a lot different than top 6 in a video game,
Yes.
where it's you're not really getting out there. These guys are going to play and they're going to get out there.
Yep. Again, it seems like O hasn't really been able to fully participate in practice recently, but I'm sure he's going to start making plays when he does. Charlie with the super chat. Now that USC is pivoting to recruiting another quarterback, Hassan Longstreet, who's committed to Texas A&M, does this mean that Juju is likely committing to Colorado next week?
Like we've said for a long, long time, feel good about it.
Auburn successfully flipped Deuce Knight from Notre Dame.
They did, or they just got I thought they got a crystal ball.
Either way, they're working on it heavily. And this report from Sports Illustrated says Deuce Knight flip to Auburn is reportedly imminent.
Okay. Deuce Knight, what a sick name.
Yeah, great name. And then with the recent development for USC with Hassan Longstreet, see you in Indiana. And at that point, well, all due respect, Indiana. Come on.
Yep. Speaking of Nebraska, kind of unfortunate news for them, and obviously you never root for injuries for anyone.
Oh, yeah.
But they lost their starting left tackle for the season.
And same guy who was injured last year, correct?
Yeah, he was out. I think this is the third time he's torn his ACL since 2021. Just
Eesh.
brutal.
Yeah.
But the guy they were counting on, 6'10" left tackle that they are going to be without for the season. So unfortunate for them. Obviously, not great for Nebraska football as well.
And great for CU that they play Nebraska in week 2 of the season and not week 10 where they potentially could figure or have more options.
Yep, and I think I read that they have a guy who started quite a few games for them, but he also missed the end of last season with a season-ending injury that kept him out of spring ball. Mm-hmm. But I think he's the now guy who's going to be projected to slot in for them.
Any takeaways from the North Dakota State quarterback talking about Colorado?
Not really. It was quarterback speak.
Yeah.
He just said they have a big opportunity, which is he's right.
Yep.
I will say he talked about playing in front of big crowds and big games.
Yes.
I think he's in for a little bit of a wake up for how loud it's going to be on a Thursday night season opener at Folsom Field.
Yeah.
And I know that from Hank that Montana gets really, really loud, but it's also like a 30,000 person stadium versus 50,000. Mm-hmm. And it's not a 50,000 that lets noise out. Like I said, I think that new video board's actually going to hold noise in even better.
Mm-hmm. Just watching a clip from Golf today of Micah completely running over a safety in the open field.
Sheesh.
Anything else?
I think that's it.
That is it. We'll be back tomorrow at the same time, same place. See you then. Let's go Buffs.
Let's go Buffs.
We all silly like the mayor.